It came as a bit of a shock when I went to San Francisco airport. I'm looking up at the gate D38 to fly from San Francisco to Tampa to give another lecture. And then suddenly somebody walks up and says, "Excuse me, your visa's been revoked." And then I look at the memo from the State Department. There's no reason why. Nothing's been stated. It hasn't said any of the things that they would later go on to say online on social media. And then as they escorted me outside of the airport, there was this black car, the kind of things you see in the movies. And they told me, get in the black car. And it had tinted windows and everything. And I said to them, I'm not getting in a black car just like that. I'm a British citizen. I need to call someone. They said, you can't call anybody. And then I told them, well, I'm not getting in the car. They said, you have 1 minute. So I called the CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations, which is a civil liberties organization. Then when I asked them, can I call my family to let them know I'm okay, a lady from behind grabs me, pushes me on the car and says, all right, that's enough, you're under arrest. And she puts the cuffs tightly behind my back, puts me into the car, and then for the next 6 hours, I'm loaded in the back of a van later in this very, tight, claustrophobic place. They don't tell you where you're going. They didn't let me call a lawyer. Even when I got there, I told them, can I have my phone call now with my lawyer? They said, you'll get it, you'll get it. I had to call the lawyer at my own expense later. And I just found it was quite an aggressive experience, because I even said to ICE, I said, listen, I'm coming as a guest, I can just fly home to London. And they went, this is not how this works. And each time I told them, guys, I've got things to do in London, I need to go home. My flight was November 2nd. And they insisted, they kept going until the federal judges came in, and highlighted that there's a serious risk of infringement on freedom of speech. In the end, the attorney on behalf of the government came and said, listen, let's just clear this up very easily. If you decide to depart, we won't make it difficult for you. What they were saying online was never said privately between the lawyers. And thankfully, I ended up home.
And you were held for roughly 2 weeks. In that time, did you have access to your lawyers? Were you able to call home? Were you able to call your wife, Sumaya, and speak to your family?
So for the first 3 days, I couldn't. On the second day, they told me that I was going to be transferred to Fresno. And I didn't know what that meant. The other inmates were warning me. They said, listen, what they tend to do is they tend to relocate you to different facilities to frustrate your ability to go to the courts. So when I informed my lawyer on the second day, I finally managed to get through on a 3-minute phone call with my lawyer. And the lawyer went to the judge and asked for a restraining order on ICE. And the judge awarded it immediately. The judge actually said in the restraining order, we're deeply concerned that there are First Amendment infringements in this, and therefore Sami is not allowed to be moved from any facility. And then the government responded and said, or those in the other side responded and went to the federal judge and said, you have no jurisdiction to look at freedom of speech for an alien, as they termed it. The judge responded within an hour saying, we have full jurisdiction to look into it, because based on this case, there is a very serious fear that his freedom of speech has been infringed. And this is despite all of the things that were being said on social media. So when I had my court hearing on Monday the 10th, I told the judge said, there's a deal on the table. Do you want to go home? I said, yes, I've got things to do. I've got, work to do. I've got things to say and the like. And then they agreed, and on Monday was the court. Wednesday, I went home. But there is one thing I want to mention here, which is that what I noticed when ICE detain you is they don't catch you on the processes, they catch you on the loopholes. So I give an example in my case. My original court hearing was on November 6th. When I went to Fresno and they cuff you on your feet, they cuff you on your hands, they throw you in a cell, you sleep in the foot cuffs. They kept me there with 24 hours until my legs were swollen. When I told the guards, look, my legs are swollen, visibly swollen, the guards simply ignored it. They only started treating me better when everybody at Sky News and the other media started raising their voices. They started treating me a bit better.